Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. This is part 28 of the series here in Japan. If you did miss the last episode, it was a fourth career win for ourselves and it was a double McLaren heartbreak in the end as well. Both cars finishing outside the points with Lando Norris suffering an engine failure and Oscar Piastri in the dying stages suffering from a puncture, and then there was Mercedes who picked up the scraps, getting both cars on the podium as well. And now as we take a look here at the performance charts, it is a very close between about the top 5 cars actually here, between the McLaren, Aston Martin, Mercedes and the Red Bull, so all very close at the top now, as well as I reckon McLaren are doing the same as us. You can see there both of our R&Ds are pretty much straight line now. We're focusing on next season, banking up the R&D points to get ourselves plenty of them to make sure that we can try and save the parts of the car that are going to be hindered by the new regulations coming in. So I reckon McLaren are on the same strategy as us there, and hopefully in the last few races we can bust out quite a few new upgrades to help us towards the end of the season. But for now, it's into practice, as now we're coming to the end of our race strategy program here. Took the first lap to get ourselves up to pacer, but then we were on the money since then to get ourselves purple in that practice program. And now as we're on to the next practice program of this session, and we're coming out of the last corner, turn 18, to cross the line to get ourselves purple on the first lap, which is always very good to see. And now for the qualifying pace, you'll see that we'll actually pretty much nearly where we need to be in the first sector, and then as soon as where the straights started coming in, we lost so much time. So that puts us P1 provisionally at the moment, but you'll see that apparently that's going to put us P22 in qualifying, as now George Russell and Lewis Hamilton lead a Mercedes 1-2 here in the first practice session of the weekend. Ourselves P5 on the soft tyre after doing that one lap run. Alex Albon on the medium tyres is down in P19, so hopefully he can improve that in qualifying, as now it's looking quite overcast for this qualifying session. So hopefully we can get ourselves into Q3. Q3 is now pretty much just the set target for us. Hopefully Alex can make it to at least Q2 for now. Coming to the end of our first flying lap, we've got Carlos Sainz, so hopefully maybe give us a little bit of a tow coming down this main straight. We're going to go shallow on the exit of turn 18 to get ourselves a bit closer to the start line, a bit faster, and that's going to put us P2 for the moment, as now after doing a cool down lap and now another fast lap on these, just remember this is actually a fresh set of rubber here, and that will put us P4 there, purple first sector. So we're looking pretty good in that first sector. As now we come to the end of qualifying one, it's Nico Hulkenberg who is fastest in the Aston Martin. Then it's Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, ourselves in P14. But unfortunately for our teammate Alex Albon, he has not managed to get through. It was about 3 or 4 tenths off getting it into Q2. So for ourselves, we're now the lone survivor for our team, as we actually had Lewis Hamilton there trying to show his nose a little bit, going through 130R, so that's hindered us going just a little bit, having to miss our apex there. So definitely pretty annoyed now with Lewis after trying to do that, so pulling over to definitely make sure he does not get any sort of slipstream going onto his next lap. And for now, that puts us P14, and once again, we're now onto another set of tyres, trying to make sure that we can get ourselves into the top 10, because remember, only the top 10 make it through. And now we completed our lap, and look at the cars all now coming out, so we've timed that to perfection to get our lap done before any sort of traffic. For ourselves, that was P9 in the end. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz are the top 3, so made it through the Q3, which is the goal for this session. Is now we've got one lap to get this lap done. We've run wide on the exit, and we're actually going to spin it around, and that is going to be us done in qualifying. We've looped it at turn 7, and for us, that's not going to be any lap time set in Q3, so that's going to be a P10 for us in the end. So Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc are your top 3, and again, yeah, for us, no lap time set, so we're starting P10.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Gasly, Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Perez, the Rainmaster, Stroll, Joe, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Norris, Tsunoda, Ocon, Liam Lawson, Albon, De Vries, Magnussen, Iwasa, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the Grand Prix. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way that you approach those roles?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. They're two very different mindsets. In the old days, of course, they used to cover up to 15,000 kilometres of testing in a season, and that role would be more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as possible, so that the data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When lining up on the grid for a race, however, a race driver's frame of mind is all about what they can get out of the situation on that day, and the car is the tool to help them achieve those goals.
Time to have a look here at the strategy that we're going to choose for this Grand Prix. We're going to stay with the medium and then go on to the hard tyre. So hopefully this strategy it will be proven to be the fastest one for us today. As you can see there, actually Russell, Perez on the medium tyres from what I can tell, and then behind us Stroll and Zhou both on the soft, so they might actually have a better start than us. So we'll just have to be watching that as now we get ready to pull up into our grid slot. Will it be purple? Yes, it is. 0.3 of a metre back from the front of the line, so making sure that we optimise absolutely everything for this Grand Prix. As now the lights are lighting up, and it is 5 lights, and we're off for the Japanese Grand Prix. That almost looks like Sergio Perez jumped the start, but it must have just been a really good reaction time. Carlos Sainz has had an absolute shocker of a race start. We go over to try and pinch him a little bit to go around his outside, but he actually did pretty well, and we actually kind of got beached there a little bit on the curb, but our exit is going to just allow us to get past Carlos Sainz there and keep that P8 position for now. So we're already up 1 position from the start of this race. Has Lewis Hamilton leads the way, Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri remain your top 3, and Pierre Gasly in P4. So very good from the French drivers. Now cutting to the end of lap 1, going into turn 16 and turn 17, the final chicane. We're going to go for a real late dive actually on George Russell, and that's going to get us up into P7 as Lewis Hamilton. So that's the fastest lap of the race, so he must still be leading this Grand Prix in the end. And now looking behind us, this is Stroll actually trying to go for a move on Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz isn't doing too well, and there's actually contact, and that's an end plate that's come off the Ferrari, I think it is. And Stroll's going to go up the inside, and yep, Carlos has gone wide. So Carlos has now got some damage, so he's for sure going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. And just have a look at the size of the train that he's already got behind him, as he's going to be super slow going through this first sector. So that looks like everyone from down to P18 is already stuck behind him. As now towards the end of the lap, this is going to be Carlos peeling himself into the pits. So this is definitely going to have ruined his race, and I reckon he's definitely going to have to now do a 2-stop. It's going to be kind of forced upon himself, as now we're going to do a bit of an order check here. So it's going to be Lewis Hamilton leading the way from Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. That's your podium at the moment. And Pierre Gasly P4 ahead of the 2 Red Bulls, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, and ourselves in P7 at the moment ahead of George Russell. And then it's Stroll and Zhou in that Sauber rounding out the points at the moment. And then it's Valtteri Bottas in the other Sauber. Nico Hulkenberg, Lando Norris still trying to make his way through the field after copping a penalty for some engine components after qualifying. Then it's Ocon, Tsunoda, Lawson, our teammate Albon down in P17. Nick De Vries, Iwasa, Magnussen, Sargent, and then Carlos Sainz down in last position after having to make that very early pit stop, lap 2. He came into the pits. As for now, we're looking to get ourselves past Sergio Perez, and he almost brake checked us there, I reckon. He braked so early for what is meant to be pretty much a flat out corner, so definitely caught us off guard. Luckily, I was already peeling out to try and make an overtake on him going into turn 1, but that is up into P6 now, is looking at George Russell. He's now trying to get past Sergio Perez, and Perez runs wide at turn 2, so that's a very odd mistake there. You don't usually see lockups going into turn 2, so Sergio Perez must have been feeling the pressure from George Russell to make that sort of mistake. As now, looking further in front, this is Max Verstappen now. Is this his time now to get past the likes of Pierre Gasly? He's going to try and go up the inside of 130R. He can't get it done quite right yet. He's going to go around the outside at the chicane, but we're going to cut back to our POV because we're going to now get the cutback on Pierre Gasly. So Gasly could lose out on 2 positions here. We're going to get the DRS off of the both of them, and we're also going to have the slipstream from Max Verstappen to help us out here. Could we also maybe get Max Verstappen? We're going to try and go around the outside, but he's coming back over. We touched the grass and had to back out of it because I reckon he would have squeezed us all the way off the road there. As now we take a look at an overtake that we missed that was happening in front of us actually while we were battling Gasly and Verstappen. This is Oscar Piastri getting past Charles Leclerc going down into the chicane. They were going side by side up the hill into 130R and then finished it off at the chicane. As now George Russell, it's his turn to get past the Frenchman, and he's going to try and go around the outside of 130R. That's going to be a very brave move if he's going to do it. He's going around the outside, which will give him the inside though for this chicane. So it could be a very good move from George Russell. It is, and he's going to get the move done pretty easily then. And now this is Nico Hülkenberg. He's making a move there on one of the Saubers. I can't tell which Sauber it was, but he is making the move there around the outside of 130R and got the job done. As now Pierre Gasly is falling further down the field. This is now Sergio Perez getting past Pierre Gasly using the DRS, and once again actually braking very early down into turn 1. It's now back on board with us, and there's a yellow flag behind us, and we've only just caught the green flag actually, but there's a yellow flag behind us. Just trying to see on the minimap who it could be. That looks like one of the Saubers is actually slowing down there. So I wonder if they might have a puncture of some sort, or maybe even an engine failure. And it's actually Zhou Guan Yu there is out of the session. So I would say some sort of mechanical failure for Zhou in the end. And this is the replay of what's happening. And yep, smoke coming out the rear. So that is a engine failure for Zhou, unfortunately, who was on the brink of the top 10. He'd only recently just been passed by Nico Hülkenberg. As now, this is Pierre Gasly being overtaken by Stroll. This is going to be for P8, and Stroll's going to have the inside now for going into that chicane, and he's going to get the job done pretty easily after going around the outside at 130R. And now for ourselves, we've got the DRS from Max Verstappen. We're going to, in the end, make a pretty easy move, get it done before the braking zone. And we're actually going to get a little bit of a tap. I reckon that was a tap because it was very odd for me to start losing the rear end in that position of turn 2. I was a little bit wider. Now this is a replay on board Max Verstappen, and there it is. There's that little bit of a touch there that really unsettled us. So very cheeky there from Max to try and go up inside at turn 2 after running that little bit wider. So now we do an order check here. So Lewis Hamilton continues to lead the way from Oscar Piastri, then Charles Leclerc. That is your top 3 at the moment. Then it's ourselves, P4. Max Verstappen, George Russell, Sergio Perez, Stroll. Gasly's now down in P9. In our last order check, he was P4. And now Nico Hülkenberg is rounding out the points in that Aston Martin. Then it's Lando Norris, Ocon, the lone surviving Sauber of Valtteri Bottas in P13. Then it's Yuki Tsunoda in his home race, P14. Alex Albon, our teammate, in P15. Lawson, Iwasa, De Vries, Sargent. And now Carlos Sainz is in P20. He's probably still going to have to make another pit stop here. And then Kevin Magnussen, who's only just made a pit stop as well, down in the last position. And now for ourselves, our pit window's just open, and we've got the DRS on Charles Leclerc. So now, can we make some sort of overtake now going into turn 1? A little bit of contact, but we get the job done. And now going through turn 2, once again, we're running just that little bit wide. So picking up some mid-corner understeer going through turn 2 on each lap at the moment. And now, fast forwarding to the end of the lap, Lewis Hamilton is in the pits, and we're going to follow him in, and we're going to be going onto the hard compound tyres. So we get it all slowed down for that pit speed limit line. Charles Leclerc has actually followed us in as well, so as it looks like the Red Bull of Max Verstappen's also into the lane as well. We get a optimal turn in, which is definitely going to now help the pit stop. Will how quickly will this pit stop be? It's a 2.3, so pretty much a perfect pit stop there from the boys and girls down in the pit lane for us. As now we rejoin the race. This will be P5 for us now. We're rejoining, so I haven't really fallen too far back. Only lost the 1 position theoretically through the pit stop phase at the moment. It's now coming down the main straight. That looks like the Red Bull of Perez, the Mercedes of George Russell, and we've also gone past one of the McLarens, I think that was, maybe Lando Norris, was just exiting the pit lane. You can see that we've actually caught up massively to Oscar Piastri, so we've definitely gained time on our fellow Australian, as now we cross the line to set the fastest lap of the race. So we definitely have better pace on these hard tyres. And now, can we possibly catch up to Oscar Piastri to get ourselves into P2? We set another fastest lap of the race, and we've now got the DRS, so we go around the outside of Oscar Piastri going into turn 1, and this time we don't actually pick up any sort of understeer going through turn 2, so the definitely much better grip on these hard tyres for us, as now this is Lando Norris. He's finally getting himself into the points. It's been a long haul for him to get himself to this stage of the race. P10 for Lando Norris, so crucial points for him in this championship, as now Max Verstappen is looking to get past George Russell going down the main straight using some DRS. They're also catching up on Stroll, who's ahead of them in that Aston Martin, and gets the move done pretty easily going through turn 1, as now this is George Russell. He's tucked up behind Max Verstappen. Verstappen's tucked up behind Stroll. So could Max be looking to go for a move down into the chicane? Doesn't look so. He's staying tucked up right behind Stroll, going through the chicane now. He's going to try and get the better exit, I would imagine, and then use that DRS to finish off the move. And with how much he's actually caught up to Stroll, I would say Stroll's looking pretty vulnerable here with that without any DRS. So could he possibly lose another position to George Russell? No, he won't, but Max Verstappen will get past Stroll on those hard tyres, and Stroll's actually on the medium tyres, so a bit of a different strategy call there. Remember, he started on the soft tyres. And now, fast forwarding to them going through Spoon, Max Verstappen's checked out of this battle, and actually Stroll's pulling over to the side, as Stroll now also suffered a engine failure. I don't see any sort of puncture, so I wonder if he's suffered an engine failure, and there is the smoke, so another engine failure there. That's 2 DNFs now in this Grand Prix so far, as now we cut back to ourselves, and we get a little bit of a tank slapper coming out that final corner, so the tyres are starting to wear out that little bit, and we now start the final lap of the race. And yeah, not much has really happened between laps 21 and to now, as now we actually take a look back behind us, and Sergio Perez is locked up going through the chicane. So is he now vulnerable to the likes of Nico Hulkenberg, who's found himself in a battle now? You can see there in those 7 laps, Max Verstappen's pulled out 8.6 seconds over his teammate. So Verstappen's found some wicked pace going through this second stage of the race. Nico Hulkenberg going around the outside of turn 1, turn 2. Is he going to get the move done? Yes, he is. So now that's Nico Hulkenberg up into P7, as now we take a look here. This is George Russell. He's now making the move on Max Verstappen, is that maybe? But he's just definitely made a move on one of the Red Bulls, and that is indeed George Russell ahead of Max Verstappen now, as Lewis Hamilton crosses the line. So yeah, didn't see much of Lewis Hamilton at all this race. He was just uncontested at all during this Grand Prix, but it's us crossing the line to finish P2 just ahead of Oscar Piastri. He was definitely charging back. He had definitely looked after his tyres a bit better towards the end of that stint there, as we also managed to get driver of the day.
What a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
And that is the Japanese Grand Prix done and dusted for Season 2 of the F1 23 MyTeam career mode here. Our podium streak has continued actually now. I think this is like podium 5 or 6 in a row for us. So definitely hitting some very good consistency at the moment. It was, once again, victory for Lewis Hamilton. It's been a while since he's seen the top step of a podium, but that was a very easy win for him in the end here in Suzuka. And Piastri also just doing some damage limitation there for McLaren after Lando Norris was only able to score 2 points in the end, finishing P9, so some damage limitation there. Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Max Verstappen, Nico Hulkenberg, Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris, as previously mentioned, and then Pierre Gasly round out the top 10, and then unfortunately for our teammates, Alex Albon He's all the way down in P20, so definitely not where we want to be seeing our teammates. Now, we take a look at the driver standings, and we have taken over the lead of the championship by 7 points to Lando Norris. So this has been a very big swing in this championship battle. So definitely trying to use this momentum now to extend this lead that we've got. McLaren now only lead by 54 points over Mercedes. So that lead is continuing to shrink down between those two. And Brabham, we're now P3, so we've jumped Ferrari once again after Carlos Sainz and didn't fail to score any points. So that definitely helped us to get that move done in the Constructors. It's now back in the HQ there. We're going to do a build time upgrade for the durability to try and make sure that we've got these things all ready to go when we smash out a heap of upgrades. Once we've finished fixing up the R&D regulations ready for next season. As now we have to choose ourselves a new rival here, actually. So we've got our choice of Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Lewis Hamilton. We're already ahead of Red Bull in the Constructors, so I'm going to go for Lewis Hamilton, actually, to try and battle it out with as a rival. And that is actually going to be all for this episode of my F1 23 My Team career mode. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next event, which is actually going to be a sprint race. So 2 races in Qatar for next episode. I'll see you then. See ya.